Trainers of all types, drafters of all disciplines, hello. I'm Caustic11, and this is the MagneZONE. And with me, as always, are my fantastic co-hosts, Adam,
What's poppin'?
Clutch,
Hello.
and Sam.
Hey.
Yeah, notice the microphone quality on Clutch and Sam is quite a bit better than we're used to.
Hopefully. Maybe we got the levels a bit better this week.
Yeah, maybe. I think the balance is level. I don't know. No one remarked upon it, so I guess it wasn't that big of a deal. But Clutch was a little soft in last week's podcast, so I'm trying to fix that. So hopefully we'll be able to hear him a little bit better this week. Anyway, now that we've gotten our like peek behind the curtain, check that off your bingo cards out of the way. Let's talk topics. And we're very excited because we can now finally talk about the week 1 matches for the TPL and the highly anticipated finals for the RDL. We will now know who the champion for season 3 is. And it's let me tell you, the details of the match may surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
But
Turn 6 will surprise you.
Yes. So let's
me.
Yeah, let's talk TPL matches first, though. And we're gonna start things off with Seattle Supersonics versus the Waynesboro Gallades. Let's talk Brings first. Volcanion, Diggersby, Megalatios, Mimikyu, Mandibuzz, and Steelix for Seattle. Waynesboro brought Greninja, Victini, Piloswine, Palisand, Zeraora, and Kommo-o. And this was a 1-0. This was a pretty close match.
Yeah, it certainly was. I think, were we the first match? Yeah.
That was the first match.
Mm-hmm. It was very
no. It was. I mean, I kind of went into this match with a couple different things. Clutch and I talked as we usually do, and I mean, first off, Ethan's ground resists aren't great, so Scarf Diggersby was great. It was kind of a good bring. I think it was Scarf Adamant, if I recall correctly. So
I think that might have been it.
Yep. Locking into Earthquake was super free against that team. It missed a little bit of the hitting power that Band could have brought, but and that actually kind of came close to being a problem. Because Ethan brought you heard the brings. I mean, Ethan brought double ground against me, and part of that was just because Piloswine actually served as a decent Lottie check for him. He didn't want to get beat by that Mon. He brought Greninja as well, but it kind of died early. No, it ended up being a Mimikyu finishing things off. Oh yeah, and then Volcanion also hit.
Did everything.
It did the thing.
Volcanion did Volcanion things and locked in the Steam Eruption and did 90 to everything.
Modest specs is gonna hurt everything.
Yeah,
because that every time I got that thing in, I just I could click Steam Eruption.
Steam Eruption is such a good move, especially when you pack it on something that when you got it on something that hits as hard naturally as Volcanion, because you're talking high power stab move. We're talking about a more accurate Hydro Pump that has Scald Burn on top of that as a secondary effect. It's such a good move against most most teams. It's a really free click a lot of the time.
It's like Scald plus Hydro Pump, but better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but what it kind of came down to is that kind of towards the end, it's I was running out of sacks against him. He was running out of sacks against me, and turned out his Kommo-o didn't really have anything for
Mimikyu.
A Mimikyu, yeah.
Yeah, you did. I will say you did pretty good seeing that Mimikyu is your way in towards the end and keeping that thing in the back.
And that's Ethan and I chatted afterwards, and he mentioned that a lot of his team was kind of designed to try and lure out Mimikyu, and I was I felt pretty good afterwards because I was I was pretty disciplined about keeping that thing in the back.
Yeah,
I mean, Clutch made me swear at the beginning not to switch it into a move.
Yeah, and hey, it worked out real well for you. You picked up the win because of it.
Yep, it was a close one. It was Ethan played well. He has So.
Yep. All right. So we'll move on to I believe this was the second battle, which was Akron Alakazams versus the Indianapolis Ponytas, and once again, it's a 1-0. But let's talk brings. Akron brought Rotom-Mow, Weavile, Mega Gardevoir, Arcanine, Crobat, and Metagross. Indianapolis brought Uxie, Excadrill, Mega Pinsir, Araquanid, Rotom Heat, and Exploud. And Pack back to form, picking up that win, 1-0.
Picking up that win against
he's definitely shaking a lot of the rust off, like with WDL and all that stuff. He's getting back to form, which is good to see.
I do feel like Pac is like WDL was good for him just because it was like a chance to get a decent team and play around and kind of, you know, figure things out again.
I threw
a little bit,
yes.
I don't know why.
Well,
sorry,
tell us about it.
PG-13. I don't know why I clicked Pursuit. I don't. If I click Ice Shard, I won that game.
Oof.
Yeah, I was actually kind of wondering why you didn't click Ice Shard there, but
for some reason I thought he'd save it and that Crobat wouldn't be the weak little fat bat it is and would be able to do more to an Uxie. Neither of which were true.
Yeah.
Well,
Uxie's pretty bulky. Knocks out
Yeah.
Uxie after Pursuit or after knockoff. We have Culverberry.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I'm like, okay, Pursuit's a better play. And I'm like, no, Ice Shard Chip is always better there. What am I doing?
Well, it happens, and it was still a good battle, even like considering a little bit of that kind of like, you know, half. We'll call it a half throw towards the end.
Half? No.
I mean that. Yeah, it was a full throw, but I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, bro.
I'm gonna launch it out the window.
All right. Well, I mean, I think you are more qualified since you were the one who played the match, so I will bow to your judgment on that.
Adam is nothing but if not brutally honest.
Well, you know, brutal honesty is one thing that we can promise here on the MagneZONE. So,
oh jeez.
Oh no.
Speaking of brutal honesty, let's move on to our third match of the week: San Jose Sharpedos versus the Can-Am Driftblims. I am the coach of Can-Am. If that wasn't apparent, I kind of have to say that because my team names are frequently different than from season to season and league to league. So. San Jose brings Darmanitan, Alolan Ninetales, Megalatios, Tapu Fini, Jirachi, and Miltank. Can-Am Driftblims bring Rhyperior, Alolan Muck, Mega Altaria, Celesteela, Slowbro, Alakazam. And this is once again a 1-0. The first three battles this week were all 1-0s. I lost as per tradition, and it was close. I made quite a few small mistakes. I didn't like make a full throw as much as a bunch of maybe little tiny kind of like I didn't throw a Hail Mary, but I was definitely throwing some pebbles and slowly putting cracks in my glass house. Which crumbled down around me. I made it, you know, I didn't set rocks when I had a golden opportunity to set rocks right off the bat. And I'm still like, I watched that and I'm like, wow, why didn't you set rocks there? And I forgot now. A lot of people pointed out to me later that I could have clicked defog to get rid of Aurora Veil on Alolan Ninetales. I forgot that defog got rid of screens. It's not an interaction that I'm like used to. Which I should be, but I guess that betrays my kind of lack of experience with competitive battling. But I completely forgot about that interaction, which is why I didn't click defog, and that would have helped enormously.
Yeah, it's little things that you learn from, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, for sure. It's something that because of the way that this battle went, because of that, I'll definitely remember that in the future.
And those are good. I think the thing that was interesting to me is that like you could have set rocks. I know Hive's Fini set, and he did bring defog, so he could have gotten rid of it. But at least, you know, then that's the turn that Fini spends defogging, right?
Speaking of that, Fini, he did have good tech for me with that knockoff, because a lot of my Mons really liked having their items, and not having their items kind of hurt.
Yeah. The fact that Fini got turns in front of you is what really enabled it to just sit there and do things.
Throw off Nature's Madness, knock things off.
Yeah, it was a general pain in my ass, yes.
That was exactly, and that's exactly what Fini does. It like its peak is just it's a royal pain.
Yep.
It just sits there and lives.
It was close, but I think the final nail in the coffin is when I let Slowbro go. If I had swapped it out when I had the opportunity to get that regen, that might have saved the game for me. Might have. It might not have. You know, it would have been a near thing either way. But
yeah, I think that the other thing is that like I kind of go back and forth on this, but there was one play in particular, the switching Rhyperior in on
Surf.
on
On the Surf.
because that was like I understood that a little bit later because it's like, you know, if he was going for another Moonblast, he probably lived, and it.
I was actually I think I was
well.
expecting the Nature's Madness.
But
And
yeah, the thing.
I was like, what do I want to switch into a Nature's Madness? And I'm like, the only thing I really wouldn't mind switching into a Nature's Madness is Rhyperior.
And so in a way, and regardless, it was going to be a sack, right?
Yeah.
Because like the thing is that you switch that in, and he clicks Surf the next turn, outspeeds and KOs.
Yeah.
But the thing is that like you were talking about, like you had a Alolan Muck in the back, and you were kind of leaving it there to help deal with the Megalodios, and that was like, I think probably in some ways it was a smart play, but like the other thing is that sometimes you have to beat the thing that's in front of you.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, that in combination with some of the other stuff that happened, it was a bunch of tiny things, but those tiny things can build up and cause a loss.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there anything more? And yeah, also credit to Hive, who played that really well.
Yep.
Scarf, Adamant Darm, it was actually kind of a solid bring. I think we talked about this, and I think I erroneously said that Jolly Mamoswine outsped or something, and like it doesn't.
By 2 points. It's real close.
No, it actually doesn't. I'm looking at the numbers right now.
Yeah. No, it doesn't by 2 points. Yeah,
it doesn't by 2 points.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It doesn't by 2 points. It's close. It's real close. Like, it's an easy mistake to make, I think, if you're just doing the calculations offhand and not actually doing them. But what happened, and now we're going to move on to a less close battle, which is the Kansas City Kingdras versus the Diglets Down Under. And we have Brings, Kyurem Black, Gliscor, Alolan Marowak, Lycanroc Dusk, Caesar, Blastoise versus the Diglets Down Under, bringing Mega Manectric, Chandelure, Drapion, Terrakion, Primarina, and Forretress.
And Kyurem turn out turn one.
Do that Kyurem out turn one.
What a savage.
What a savage.
Yeah, Diglets was being. It should be noted that the actual coach of the Diglets was not piloting their team this week. It was actually Andrew, and viewers like Andrew. No, no, this podcast is brought to you by Andrew and viewers like Andrew. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is my
this is his battle. So I'm gonna let Clutch take over here.
On note, right here, looking at the team design, looking at the Diglets, there was a lack of Grandpa's ice coverage was perfect coverage on this team, like no doubt. His things that I couldn't hit with Earthquake or Earth Power or Drill Run or things. I had Lycanroc Dust for Cell Rock to pick off. Those things would be like Yanmega, Staraptor, Chandelure. Didn't come, thank God. The thing that surprised me most is that there was no Zygarde. Zygarde was something that like really put pressure on Gliscor to try and check both Terrakion and Zygarde. So like not seeing that made this game a little bit easier for me. So yeah, the big issue on that team went for Marina. So like being able to deal with that, I had Assault Vest Blastoise, like Max Pedef Assault Vest Blastoise to take hits from it, which ended up actually working out because like I got the spin off. So like because I didn't want like Kyurem Black to take Toxic Spikes damage.
Well,
so being able to handle that was nice.
And one thing a quick remark. One thing that definitely was big trouble was the offensive core of Kyurem Black and Alolan Marowak. Those two combined was like very hard to switch into because they were kind of relying on Forretress to do a lot of their switching in, but Forretress, like, you know, it took a lot of chip, and you had Gliscor to keep it from Volt switching out.
And Marowak stopped that too. Underrated hero in that game. Marowak got no. Well, Marowak just denied every bit of momentum.
Marowak denied a lot of momentum, and Marowak also got a lot of good chip going. So, and then like I guess I would say another kind of the other unsung hero is your Blastoise that died to get rid of Toxic Spikes, which might have caused you a wee bit of problems.
Trouble with Kyurem. Yeah, I didn't want Kyurem Black taking unnecessary.
Yeah.
Chandelier a little bit better.
Yep, and it worked out for you. So yeah, it was a really well managed battle. You had you had a lot of, you know, you had that good pressure. You had good coverage for that team that they brought. So
Watching Gliscor tank a Rocky
Rockium into
MZ.
Stonehenge.
Oh yeah,
and then
that was
boosting off the
brutal.
damage like it was nothing.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to
Gliscor is a
Gliscor.
dumb
Yeah.
Pokemon.
It was like that was nearly max defense Gliscor.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
a
no.
little bit of speed investment.
That thing takes hits.
All right, so on to the next battle: the Colorado Agrons versus the Georgia Tech Beedrills. Georgia Tech packing Swampert, MagneZOne, Manaphy, Salazzle, Latias, and Mega Absol. Colorado Agrons packing Donphan, Mega Caesar, Latios, Raikou, Talonflame, and Mismagius. So, Battle of the Latis here. This was a 2-0, so it was a pretty close battle.
I felt like I remember watching this battle and thinking that like this was really just Nadia slinging everything at
That's
Earthlab and kind of fizzling too soon.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me as well. I think letting I don't know I don't think letting Mega Absol go that quick, especially after getting it not for free getting the Mega off, but definitely getting it off with relatively little chip. Probably was, that was good, but like I don't think leaving it in was necessarily a great plan.
Yeah, I think the difficulty with the team that offensive is just that it really struggled to switch in.
Yeah, that it definitely had problems switching in, and also like credit to Colorado, they did a pretty good job of maneuvering the fight to get Raikou into a good position to clean, which is what it did towards the end there. That Rindo Berry Swampert would have been pretty tech had it not already been chipped quite a bit by the time that it came into effect.
Yeah, and what's the super effective Dragonberry? It's like
it's Haban.
Oh, Haban. Yeah, that was a Haban Berry Latios that she didn't get to show off because the Draco Meteor from Latios missed.
Yep. And also, this is kind of the battle of things surviving on very small amounts of HP, because that Latios survived on, 1 HP?
Did it survive the... Yeah.
It survived the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the Mismagius that survived on, 3 HP.
That's right.
So, yeah, there's a lot of low HP lives there that really helped out for Colorado. I don't know if those were rolls or not. Usually with that small, when you're talking that kind of margin, I think they probably were just low damage rolls, but I don't have the calcs in front of me, so I couldn't say for sure that. But those if they were low damage rolls, those definitely hurt, because that allowed Mismagius to get more chip in. That allowed Latios to sit out there a little bit longer. Yeah.
Well. Yeah, it's just it was the two of them just kind of throwing stuff back and forth, and Earthlab came out on top with a few extra switch-ins there, taking a few hits better, living a few odd hits here and there.
Yep,
it was good.
Yeah, it was a good battle. So that moves us on to the San Antonio Sceptiles versus the Philadelphia Flygons. Brings for San Antonio Gengar, Suicune, Megalopony, Tornadus T, Ferrothorn, Porygon 2. Flygons brings Sylveon, Heatran, Lantern, Mega Sharpedo, Hariyama, and Lando T.
I never thought I'd see a team with Tornadus, Therian, Megalopony, and Gengar as the offensive core, and Suicune, Ferrothorn, and Porygon 2 as the defensive core get shut down.
And it did get shut down. This was a 6-0 for Philadelphia.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Yep.
Toxic everything.
Yeah.
You don't against P2. You don't want to lose.
Yeah. Well, Toxic is one of the better ways to deal with P2, especially if your opponent isn't packing something that has, like aromatherapy or heal bell, which San Antonio wasn't.
Toxic plus knockoff, and Philadelphia brought plenty of it.
Yep. I mean, when you're looking at the defensive core that they have to deal with, you kind of understand why they did that, because Toxic's real good against Suicune, it's real good against Pori2, Knockoff is great against Ferrothorn, Pori2, and Suicune.
Yeah, I think that the mistake that Dominator made playing with Ferrothorn was letting it die to Hariyama, right? Because that's what happened, right?
I didn't watch this battle. I tried watching all of them. I was really busy this week. I managed to watch most of them, but
That's fine. But yeah, because Hariyama definitely logged a kill.
mm-hmm.
Someone was commenting about this beforehand as well, right? Like,
yeah,
No, I think it was my comment. Like,
probably.
That team's defensive core struggles to deal with like really strong fighting types.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And Hariyama just like came in, took the tox from Suicune and just got to do what it wanted.
And Hariyama is in fact a very strong fighting type.
It is.
Yes.
It's 120 attack on a potentially guts boost. Does not mess around.
I kind of wish it was still on my team.
Like a very budget version of Conkeldurr.
Yeah, it is. It kind of is a budget Conkeldurr.
It's like no drain punch, but it gets close combat.
Yeah, not as bulky.
Little less attack, little more HP, I think.
Little less scary. Isn't shaking around giant pillars.
Yeah.
True. It's got big ass hands instead.
Catch
If that
these
thing
hands.
slaps you, you're dead.
These hands, only appropriate nickname.
Dude, if it slaps you, you're dead.
That's facts.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So on
Anything more
to
say about this one?
yeah. Well, is there anything more? I don't think there's much more to say here.
I mean, other than like it's an impressive showing for Heathcliff week 1.
Yeah.
To, like come out because like Dominator is good and he has
true.
a good team.
Yep. He's good, has a good team, and Heathcliff, pretty well, yeah, definitely an unknown for this group of coaches. So seeing him come out swinging like this is interesting and also good. I'm glad we have yet another quality coach.
Facts.
In the league. That's exciting. So next battle, Anaheim Mighty Golducks versus the Ohio Ninetales. Anaheim brought Tapu Bulu, Kingdra, Thundurus T, Registeel, Pelipper, and Mega Blastoise. Ohio was packing Garchomp, Mega Venusaur, Empoleon, Umbreon, Silvally, and Vikavolt. Garchomp going in with 4 direct kills. Doing what it does.
Yeah, that was turn 2 Garchomp clicking ground EMZ on a Registeel and deleting it.
Oh, man.
It was a full health Registeel and it was gone.
Just disappeared instantly as if it wasn't even there in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Sub Mega Venusaur was some heat as well.
Yep. Mega Venusaur is hard to break in general. Having that sub up is just making it even harder to break.
I think it kind of made sense with like Pelipper.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Was it?
It's gonna allow it to kind of get a little bit of chip. We got this rhythmic tapping from Clutch.
Sorry.
Like the Empoleon also did the thing. It switches in on Pelipper nicely. Vikavolt was there and did a good job. Like. But yeah, this was 100% Garchomp's game. And then Silvally came in at the very end, threw off a flamethrower. I think it was Silvally Fire. Came in, killed Bulu, clinched the game.
Yes, Silvally was pretty fire.
It was literally fire.
Against a rain team.
Yeah, the brass balls on this man.
Yep.
But
Mike
worked.
got the keys, dude. Mike has the keys.
He's playing this 5th dimensional chess once again. Yeah, I mean, it was a rough matchup for Anaheim, just in general. Like, Mike's got that Garchomp Mega Venusaur core, which is really tough to break, and then when you got Umbreon as a Wish Passer, I'm assuming it was Wish Pass.
Yeah, I mean that's what
it usually
does. I don't recall. Did somebody get a Wish Pass?
I don't think it ever. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if it necessarily did, but I'm assuming that's what the set was. Like, having that on top, like, with those 2 mons, good Wish Passer, those mons, good Wish Passer to Empoleon. Like, he's got a lot of good Wish Pass targets.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, and moving on to our final battle for week 1 of the TPL, and we're keeping right on pace with this. Lancashire Luxrays versus the Galesburg Gliscors, and Lancashire bringing Gligar, Melodic, Hydreigon, Cloyster, Reuniclus, Tapu Koko. Galesburg packing Rotom Wash, Hoopa Unbound, Bronzong, Florges, Nidoqueen, and Infernape. And this is a 4-0 victory for Lancashire. That Reuniclus.
Yeah.
I think the appropriate wording is it did the damn thing.
It did the damn
Yeah,
thing.
The exact
Did the
same.
damn thing.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Why did you just emphasize that so much?
Because it needs to be emphasized.
Well, because, you know...
If we don't have memes, what are we doing?
You're right.
Without our memes, we are nothing.
We need to mention that, like, someday if we ever have merch, we're gonna have a shirt that said "It did the damn thing."
Yeah.
Also, along with
and now,
freeze.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So check the mention of merchandise that will probably never happen on your bingo cards.
Yep. Get one that has a giant flame orb on it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm not
playing Neek.
Don't count that as a mention of the thing on the bingo card because he only mentioned one half of that.
Mentioning the bingo card is on the bingo card as well. But anyways,
yes.
Going back to the thing that we're talking about,
bingo
is no. I'm actually like super hyped for FaZe because like he came in from PCL as his first Wi-Fi league, and like Neek is like a hell of a coach to play in your first match.
Yeah,
and like
especially with the team that he's got.
Yeah, Neek's got a good team, like Ape plus Rotom Wash, like plus Hoopa U. Like there's a ton of like Volt Turn on this team. Minshao's good. We mentioned like a couple weeks back that like Minshao takes like the scarf pressure off Ape. Like dual fighting types is cool.
Yeah.
Zong's there to set rocks. Florgus is there to take special hits. Like Neek's got a good team. And the thing is that in the absence of like with like Florgus like absent or chip, Reuniclus just kind of went in, and that Trick Room set was so good.
Yep, Trick Room Reuniclus is dangerous.
Mm-hmm. And then I think Clutch mentioned this as well, like that even if like Reuniclus had gone down after Bronzong was out of the way, there was a Sash Cloister back.
Yeah, Sash Shell Smash Cloister just did what it wanted.
Yep,
that's just poised. Yeah, and so. Yeah, and FaZe has been like winning all over the place lately. I mean, he did really well in the PCL Halloween tournament. So like, shout out to FaZe if he actually listens. Also, shout out to Neek who like I'm playing this week, and I wrote to him and was like, "Hey, when do you want to schedule?" And he was like, "Hey, so I want to prep really hard for this battle because I want to come back from my week 1 loss."
Oh, rip you!
Yeah,
rip you!
Yeah. I have to suffer for this. Like, I'm happy you won FaZe, but I am about to suffer. You just put me in a world of hurt. Why couldn't you let Neek be complacent?
Jeez. All right. Well, with that, that's going to finish out our TPL Week 1 coverage. I'm pretty excited for Week 2 coverage. Only one battle for Week 2 has happened so far.
Hey, that's me.
Nice. Yeah. Versus Nadia.
And also a week 3 battle has actually happened, but we'll get to that in good time. So, moving on from that, this is the moment that a lot of you have probably been waiting for. We're going to talk about the finals for the RDL. Who is the champion? Well, you're about to find out. So, the championships, the RDL was Seattle Supersonics versus the Ohio Ninetales. And we were all going into this with quite a bit of excitement. And it was a weird match. I'm just going to say it flat out. This was a weird match. So, what we're going to do, since Sam actually, was one of the coaches in this match, we're going to have him talk about it last. And because, frankly, there wasn't a lot to talk about. I'm just going to put it, everyone's got a few points about this. I'm going to actually pull my notes out real quick here. I'll start things off. Was that, now, I think, I don't know, I didn't go back to confirm this, but that lead from Mike was fake out Super Fang on Scrafty.
Yeah,
yes,
which is pretty. Those were the only two. Yeah, only 2 moves we saw.
Yeah, the only 2 moves that we saw, but I mean that's actually pretty fire. I was kind of surprised.
I was surprised. I'm not really sure what the purpose was. Mike actually sent me his sets, and so it was. I was curious as to why it was there.
It's interesting. I don't know what the purpose was, but it was still pretty cool. I mean, it was kind of unexpected, but I'm not going to mention one of my notes because everyone else is probably going to mention it, so I'll just move on. Zlando was pretty good, and notably your your Staraptor wasn't it was a bulky Staraptor. It wasn't speed teched.
Yeah.
So
well,
I mean it was speed tech. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was outsped by Lando. I shouldn't say it wasn't speed teched, but it was outsped by Lando, and that ended up hurting pretty bad, taking that supersonic sky strike.
I'll comment on that real quick right now, which is that actually like that was probably my best sack in that situation.
That's I mean that's
it
fair.
kind of happened by accident, but I just figured I was like, I'm gonna get a scouting opportunity on this Lando. I'm just gonna see what it does.
That's fair. And you got a good idea of what its speed was set at too, which is important when you're dealing with Lando, because Lando could be set so many different ways.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like being faster than me in that situation definitely like told me it's like, it's not a bulky Lando if that happens.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
So
the final thing I wanted to kind of go over a little bit was Mike did a really good job of using Kiram in this one. Kiram did work just in general. So that's kind of all I have really to say.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what Adam saw the battle as well.
Yeah, so I'll move on to Adam then. So Adam, tell us what you thought of this.
First few turns are very back and forth, kind of like feeling each other out to begin with. I still feel like Starmie was the move over Vikavolt. Vikavolt was a risk.
It was, but I think I'll take plenty of time to talk about that in a second.
I might have
that's
why I'm not.
So let's talk about what that switch was real quick, because
for context.
For context here, elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, I mean, I can. Let's see here.
Yeah,
that was right after
Sam.
Lando.
Yep.
That was right after Lando Flyanium Z'd Staraptor, which was turn 3, turn 4. My Staraptor's gone. I looked at it, and I had the opportunity. I looked at it as like Starmie gets in for free here, or I could go to my Vikavolt, which has the Rock Super Effective Berry, Charty, right?
Yes, Charty.
Yeah. And it was at a little bit less than half. Clutch and I had done the calc and the tech to make sure that we lived hits from unboosted Lando, and I just thought to myself, this is going to bait Lando. I'm going to go into it. I'm going to click HP Ice, and I'm going to delete this offensive Landorus right now. And I'll just say it right now to get it out of the way, is that the max roll was 75 HP. I had 80 HP, and he got a crit. So, yeah. I mean, in some ways, to me, I felt like that was the play that was more likely to give me Lando, was my dedicated Lando lure. And so that's why I went to it, because I was just like, well, this thing isn't going to have opportunities anywhere else. I'm probably just going to use it as a sack unless I bait Lando with it right now.
Because going Starmie there gives Mike the opportunity to switch out to something else, potentially Volcanion, potentially something else.
Starmie clicking Psychic is fine.
Yeah, unless
especially because you're an analytical life orb. Anything's taking a massive hit.
I believe that was a full health land.
It was a full health Landorus.
You more than likely have to go for an Ice Beam in the situation. If you're trying to get rid of Landorus.
Yeah. I mean, the switch was pretty obvious, and I think that's what I ended up doing. Right? Is I after Vika got lost, then I went back to it. But
because you were forcing him to switch. He couldn't stay on Starmie.
And we could talk about this back and forth. This is one of those things where we could go back and forth on this all day long.
Hindsight is 20/20. I have that benefit. We
both. All three of us have that benefit,
especially because you don't foresee. Oh, I'm going to be crit.
Yeah, that's a pretty hard one to predict. I mean, if he had just been a gentleman and missed the Stone Edge,
you're asking for too much, my guy.
Sometimes
it's not the game we play. Does not give you that luxury.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
All right.
So you got any other thoughts, Adam?
Other than that, I felt like you did a good job keeping it close. I just felt like that crit kind of set you behind, and trying to pull back is really hard against that team.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
I guess it's my turn now.
Yes,
so I think
by process of elimination, it is now Clutch's turn.
The turning point of that game, the turning point where Sam lost all of his outs at that point was Mike had that Scarf Curum in the back. He had it out for me, and he went for HP 5 in the incoming Scizor. Great play on Mike's end, absolutely, really
Yeah.
great play. And by Sam going scissor there, it lost him any shot at potentially winning that game.
Yeah, I think that had I maybe I think if I'd gone back to Starmie right then.
Yeah, then you might have you throw off another psychic like.
Yeah, that's. I think that when it comes down to it, that's the one spot where I feel like it's I definitely messed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's other spots where
throwing away scissor was just kind of not the best.
And that was something where I think I got kind of flabbergasted in the face of just you switch something in. He made a good play, and I was just like, what do I do now? Sometimes, I mean, because I feel like that's something that happens, right? Is when you get caught off guard and you're playing down something that you thought you had. Then I don't know about you, but sometimes I start to I do that thing where it's I'm looking for outs and almost nothing seems viable. So all of a sudden, I had the thought, I was in kind of the heat of the moment, I was just well, maybe if I'm mega, I can live another one of these. And I absolutely couldn't roost off the damage. And yeah, so I lost my scissor there. The crazy thing about that play, actually, I'll talk about that more in a second. Clutch, do you have any other thoughts on it?
I think most what else has been said has been.
Mm-hmm. I think you made a comment to me earlier that I think another spot where I messed up and could have played better.
Could have bullet punched.
Could have bullet punched the Kyurem. Also, really, I think could have recognized the extent to which Ape didn't benefit me in the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had it in my head that I wanted Ape around for Kyurem. But then when Kyurem was scarfed, it's, really not all that useful. And the problem with Ape that we ran into here is that we wanted to have we wanted to have Banded Ape around just in case Snorlax showed up. That's really what it was there for, primarily. And also just to throw off big hits. But Ape locking into Flare Blitz or close combat is really an invitation to Megalodios, excuse me. Yeah. So I think if I had recognized, I was doing the mental math at the very end, and it was a game of basically, I don't have enough sacks to beat this team. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that really kills me about that Vikavolt crit is that if Vika had lived on even, the smallest amount of health and taken out Landorus.
Yeah.
Yep, it would have been one less sack that he had to my Specs Gudra and one more sack that I had. That's why that detail is really particularly important.
I don't know if anyone mentioned there were 4 crits in this battle.
Yep,
and 17 turns.
Yeah,
17 turns and 4
crit
crits.
every 4 turns.
And now it's debatable. Some of those crits, it's debatable on how much they mattered. I still think they all mattered to a pretty substantial degree, but it's debatable on some of them.
Mm-hmm. So the 4 crits that I can think of are, so first off, the Vika crit was really painful,
and that did matter.
That absolutely did matter. The calc says it did matter. Volcanion switching in on Psychic from Starmie sort of mattered. Yeah. The reason being, I could have KO'd that Volcanion next turn with a second Psychic or a T-Bolt. And it would have just died. But I would have taken another turn of Life Orb recoil.
Right.
Which means that later on I wouldn't have lived the Draco Meteor, but also that didn't really matter either. Because Starmie switches into a Draco from Kyurem Black, or sorry, not Kyurem Black, Kyurem Regular, a couple turns later, and lives it on 3 HP or something.
Yeah, pretty close to that.
Yeah, and so would have died, but that's also kind of not as big a deal because it just killed me next turn.
Yeah, because it was scarfed.
And then the other one was that. So my Starmie obliterated Volcanion on the way in. Gudra obliterated Landorus on the way in, which sort of mattered because Landorus could have taken the hit from a Specs Gudra clicking Dragon Pulse. But also, it would have gotten some damage off, and then something else would have had to switch in, or it would have stayed in and died. So ultimately, that one was kind of not consequential. It might have been if I had been closer to being in the game.
Right.
But like he still had Curum in the back, and he still had Mega Latias in the back, and those were two things that really threatened Gudra, no matter what health it was at.
Yeah.
And then the final crit was just an insult to injury thing, where I was thinking to myself, I have a Curum at like, what was it, -4 when it crit me or something. Might have even been at -6. Like,
yeah, it was definitely like low mode.
Yeah. My last Pokemon was my beloved Gudra, and yeah, if I was about to take one Draco and KO back with Dragon Pulse, and there was a -6 Draco, but the crit happened. So without that crit, it would have been a 1-0. Mega Latias would have come in and done the thing, but the crit definitely swung things.
Yep. So yeah, and like you said, three of those 4 crits were, you know, helpful, arguably helpful, but not necessarily like they didn't overtly affect the outcome that much.
Yeah.
But that Vikavolt crit definitely did.
Yeah. The reason I've been like emphasizing like in conversations with people the fact that like crit mattered is because you wouldn't really think it did. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, it's a Stone Edge to a Vikavolt. Of course it's going to kill. It's like actually this is, I mean, that was the reason that Clutch and I built that Vika set. So we're like, we need something that switches into Lando that doesn't fear earthquakes, doesn't fear U-turns, and if it wants to run coverage for us, we're gonna catch it and we're gonna send it to the Shadow Realm. Sounds good.
Yeah, and so if it wasn't clear by what we've been saying, Michael won. Michael is now 2-time RDL champion.
Yep. Congrats to Michael.
So definitely. Congratulations to Michael. He played well. Had a great season.
Yeah, if only somebody hadn't, handed him Mega Latias.
As we all turn and stare at Adam's
Bro, what are you looking at me
avatar.
For? Solitaire, you ripped it up.
That's fair. I know you ain't.
I know. We're poking a bit of fun at
Emerson.
I know.
Emerson, if you're listening, I wish I had been able to persuade you to pick it up. I tried so hard. I was like, hey, how would you feel about Mega Latias?
Yeah, I almost wish you had too, because then I wouldn't have had to face Mike with Mega Latias during the regular season. Right, and then face Mega Latios right after that.
Yep.
Rip.
So anyway, let's not go too much into that, but yeah.
Yeah. I think that it was an end to the season.
Yeah.
It was like it's a little bit rough to like feel like you
it was
a good opportunity, but like I have to give credit to Mike, like because ultimately if this was judged like just solely by how we played, like he still comes out on top. The Curum read just flipped the game for him.
Yeah. And it should be noted that this was a good battle, despite it maybe not necessarily being the climactic struggle we all anticipated it to be. Because
both of us just threw offense at each other. Really,
yeah,
it wasn't like Santoro versus Clutch last season.
It's what I like to call battleship mons, where you're kind of just saying, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, and just slugging at each other. So. Yeah, I just threw like 3 different naval things in there. But anyway, moving on to our Mon of the Week, which is our final topic. You'll note that we're actually running a little bit short. I think we'll still get to about an hour, but we've streamlined our topics a little bit here. We've been doing some restructuring on how we do topics to try and make things less of us waffling and more getting down to business.
Except for when we waffle about restructure.
Well, I felt like it was worth.
I'm only teasing.
Yes, well,
He's only being completely serious.
Yeah. Anyways, before we, descend into that pit, let's talk our Mon of the Week, Kommo-o. And what a Mon of the Week it is. Kommo-o is a very interesting Mon.
Kommo-o is a monster to prep for.
Yup.
A monster.
Hey.
I'm not
Hey.
sorry.
It's almost like that is why the Mon is there.
Yeah.
Gosh.
For those of you who maybe don't know, Pokemon stands for Pocket Monsters.
Mm.
So anyway, yeah, Kommo-o has got some interesting abilities. I'm gonna go over those real quick here. He's got bulletproof, overcoat, and soundproof.
Both are good.
Yes,
Both can catch you by surprise.
but both of the three of them are good.
I wasn't counting overcoat.
Don't run an overcoat.
Yeah, don't run overcoat. Soundproof and
And
bulletproof
what?
all the way.
You can
Unless
run
you're
like playing like an
facing-
Amoonguss team. Yeah, exactly.
That's
That's fair.
Yeah.
Unless you face Amoonguss or Breloom, don't bring overcoat.
Yeah. But
Yo, I didn't actually even know it got overcoat.
yeah.
I'm
Now
so
you
gl-
do.
I'm so glad I didn't accidentally click Spore on a Kommo-o sometime this season.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
I would have laughed.
But yeah,
I really
bulletproof
want-
and soundproof are the two main abilities that you're going to be running on this thing for sure. Let's talk stats. HP 75, attack 110, defense 125, special attack 100, special defense 105, and speed 85. So pretty respectable stats all around. That defense in particular, pretty solid.
So you want to run it physical attacker, special attacker, physically bulky, or specially bulky?
Yep. And you can
You
do
would
that.
do anything.
You can actually, and depending on the team you're facing, you can run it Scarf too, and it's going to put in work. Like 85 is a very scarfable speed.
It
Yeah.
has very spammable scarf moves too.
Indeed, it really does.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's interesting because I think it's another one of those Mons that people like were kind of like underwhelmed by in some ways when it first came out. They're like, oh, the speed's too slow and things, but like very solid in draft.
Yeah. And that's the thing. This is it's not. I'm not gonna call this like. I mean, it's a tough mon to prep for, which is one of the big things that it has going for it. But what this thing is it's a really solid offensive workhorse, right? Like most of the time, that's what you're using it for. It's got the bulk, but fighting dragon isn't a super great defensive typing. You're kind of susceptible to a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, don't catch a D-Gleam.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing. You get a quad to fairy, and like you got to remember that a lot of the mons that are going to be hitting this thing are hitting on its on the defensive stat that it has less base in. Not to say that base 105 is nothing. It's not, but it's weaker defensive stat, and that's what it's going to get hit on most of the time because it's psychic weakness, ice weakness, fairy weakness, like. But it is a great offensive typing. Dragon fighting is fantastic offensive typing. And this thing is a very solid offensive workhorse. It also gets good setup. Dragon Dance is great, especially when you combine it with bulletproof. It's got a lot of different items you can slap on this thing. It's a great Z captain candidate.
Yeah, because it really does like its setup.
Yep. And
another underrated like fact about it is that it can kind of like it doesn't. I don't want to call it a mini Garchomp because it's like the thing that they share is like
the dragon typing.
The dragon typing.
Yeah,
a little bit of kind of that. A little bit of kind of that. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Is that they both actually set rocks.
Yep.
Which is something that I mean you don't see Kommo-o run that a lot. You see it's more commonplace of Garchomp just because Chomp has I'd say the better defensive typing.
Yeah.
I'd say that Kommo-o sets up better than Garchomp.
Yeah, I mean that's
just because of the wide
Dragon Dance
range that it has. Dragon Dance, it has Automize, it has
Sword Stance,
it has Belly Drum.
Yeah, it's got a lot of options for setup.
Garchomp's only Sword Dance.
And Garchomp, the big ass dragon, does not get Dragon Dance. Base Calm Game Freak.
It kind of makes sense though.
Yeah, it also gets really good stab on both sides of the spectrum for dragon moves. It gets outrage on the physical side, and it gets clanging scales on the special side, which is really good with its mixed attack stats. Great mixed breaker, which is oftentimes something you want in draft.
Yeah. It does need a couple boosts to kind of get places, but
it's also got you can use it depending on the particular fairy type that you're maybe worried about. If you can predict the switch, it has poison jab, so you can
Iron Tail.
Yep, you can definitely use it to like lure in a fairy type and take it out real quick.
Yep. Is it a Z captain, and are you trying to break a Clefable? Consider Steelium Z.
Yeah.
Consider Z Belly Drum as they switch in and then absolutely rock their world.
Yeah. It's
Also
Unless
an
it's on
option.
Yep.
Then you're back to square one.
And it's got pretty good coverage on both sides too. Like, where it's got flamethrower, which is useful. It's got
Flash
it's got some
cannon.
flash cannon. It's got some elemental punches in there. Kind
Drain
of.
Punch, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh yeah, great stab with drain punch. That's really useful for it.
Yeah, it's going to take advantage a little bit of the natural bulk that it has by, if you give it something to drain punch.
Notable.
Did you say a little bit of natural bulk it has?
I mean, it's got quite a bit of natural
Yeah,
bulk.
base 125 defense. It's
It also
quite a
gets
bit of
iron
natural
head.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the HP stat is like kind of mediocre, but like
You're right.
it's good. Like
Yeah.
See,
it takes
that's where
hits.
That's where
Well-
the whole mind game speed teching comes in, where you're like, how much speed do I really need if I'm planning on going +1 or +2? And how much can I
Another-
dump into
yeah.
HP?
Another edge case set that I could see being run is I could see it being run as like a pseudo hazer with substitute and dragon tail.
I thought you were about to say sub belly drum salad berry, and I was about to get so happy.
I
'cause
mean
wanna see
that is also a
set.
set you can run. It would be super edge case, don't get me wrong, but it is a set that I could see being run occasionally.
As long as you scare something out, you're getting that off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kommo-o is weird in that sense though, because it's like it's got so much setup that like weird things will stay in on it to try and deny it setup, or to try and do something to it, or to try and chip it
True.
for something
Yeah.
else.
It
Like
also
that's
uses bulk up
Mhm.
on that base 125 defense,
Which is
Alright.
yeah.
actually make this thing bulky.
Yep.
yeah, go get like sub bulk up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
high facade.
Mhm.
It also gets
Hey.
roar, so if you want,
Actual
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
some
and
phasing
fun
stuff.
fact, soundproof blocks roar. That's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can't it's hard to phase it. It's not like impossible to phase it, but it is hard to
Soundproof
phase it.
also blocks and Mega Gardevoir's hyper voice.
Mhm.
Yep.
Or Sylveon's hyper voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was about to say that as well. Is that one of the advantages of like bulletproof and soundproof is that they're kind of abilities that people will occasionally forget about until the moment they
yeah.
do anything.
And then they know they messed up.
Yeah,
Well, especially
You can come
especially,
in on like Gengar Shadow Balls, like stuff
Yeah.
like that.
and
Well,
I
then
think that's
Gengar's
why
gonna decline you
sub
into
is
the next
actually
demo.
like sub setup is actually a really good set to run on this mon with soundproof, because those hyper voices people are going to be like suddenly relying on to try and get around that won't hit you.
yeah. If they have one of the mons
I
that
mean-
takes advantage of that.
Yeah.
Signature move clanging scales, the downside to it isn't that bad of a downside.
Yeah.
Like lower your defense by 1, but you had base 125 defense.
Yeah.
It's like a slightly less,
Yeah.
still continues to hit just as hard.
Well, also
Yeah.
like you talk about bulk up. Like if you're running a sub bulk up set with clanging scales, I mean your attacks, not
What?
gonna matter. But like if you're or maybe running a
Sub
mix,
bulk up clanging scales.
yeah, dude,
But
you still keep your defense.
you're using
But-
a special attack.
And this
You're-
is and
you're raising your
check this
attack
off
for
on your
special
bingo
move?
cards, people. This is where Cossack says something stupid and then has everyone tell him how stupid he
I
is.
got so confused.
Yeah. Well,
Does it get like
welcome.
iron defense? Could it be?
It does get iron defense.
It could be. Go click iron defense a bunch.
Yeah.
Yo.
Get the +6 on that defense.
Yo, I wonder what Z iron defense does.
Probably boost your defense even more.
It's
Yeah,
probably
you-
the same thing as like Z Swords Dance.
Let's find out. I'm running that.
Our defense will blot out the
So
sun.
it also sub work
Yeah,
up. Sub
All day.
work up, then you can run drain punch and clanging scales.
Yeah, throw a mixed attacker at something. You get it
You-
actually
You
use.
really stopping it on both
Yeah,
sides?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
the only issue with those sets will always be that like running a minus nature and your
Something to also consider
never
with this
fun.
mon is it does also get taunt, and that is a valid thing to use on it.
oh yeah run an anti-lead set. I think Nadia did that once against me in season 2.
Yeah, it's a really good set to run.
yeah
Like, there's a lot
think
you can
she-
do with this mon. You look at it's one of those mons again. You look at the base stats of it, and it maybe seems a little underwhelming, especially with the 85 speed stat. But it's greater than the sum of its parts, and it really thrives in the type of environment that you get with Draft League.
It's like Gudra in a sense. Like Gudra has middling speed. You know, it takes some hits and like it's but its offenses don't stick out. But the fact that it's mixed makes it a lot better.
Yeah.
Kommo-o's thickness is just spread out more.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gudra is just.
Gudra is you pack an assault vest on this and super effective special hits won't do jack.
Yeah, I will switch in on some Draco Meteors for you. Now, if only we had given Gudra Regenerator.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh man, if Gudra had Regenerator, that would be my turn one, or that'd be my round one pick every single draft.
Yeah, Theriumon going out the window here and going away from Kommo-o.
Yeah. But anyway,
draft Kommo-o. It's good.
Yeah, do it. And especially if you need a Z captain, like if you're, because a lot of times Kommo-o is one of those high tier mons that doesn't always get picked. So if you're in your like in the later sections of your draft and Kommo-o is still on the board and you need a dragon or is good Z captain, Kommo-o might just be your mon. Give it a look.
Typically sits around tier 2. If you're in a Z point system, like leaves you open for a tier 4.
Yep.
Well, is there anything more to say about this thing?
I think we covered it pretty well. What do you guys think?
I agree.
All right, cool. So next week, it's going to be all TPL all the time because the RDL season is over. And season 4 isn't happening until May. So we might do like some very, very cursory, like not going into any details, but maybe just going over who won for the MBL, like the off-season league that we're doing. But I don't think we're going to go into too much details. Might use it as a little bit of light filler in between segments. But other than that...
But AI playoffs are happening right now. Adam and I traded teams.
I couldn't help but laugh. We would have used each other's teams.
I don't want to be a liar though, and I did say in the description of the last video we're discontinuing our Lola International coverage, and I'm standing by that. So
fair enough.
I completely stand by that decision.
Yeah.
Me
so
too.
Until next time.
We traded teams and no one has said anything yet.
Yeah. Until next time. This has been the MagneZONE. May your drafts go your way and may you not get sniped. Peace.
All right.